We are Sex Boom! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
I could do this all day.
Here's Johnny.
All right, so I am Seth Estes, and these are my co-hosts, Misty Estes and Jason Estes, and this is our first part of movie reviews that no one asked for. And this week, for our first episode, we will be talking about the 2022 Best Picture nominees and what we thought about them and where we would rank them in terms of which ones we want to win. First off, we'll be talking about Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it's by a young man named Paul who turns out to be the chosen one and has to pretty much travel to all these planets and trying to find Zendaya is pretty much the whole movie. It's a trailer for the next movie. No, but I did like this movie. I did read the book before watching it, and I think it adapted it pretty well. I like the cinematography and the score of it, and Hans Zimmer never disappoints as the composer. But I thought the visual effects were also amazing, and it did tell a good story. I did feel it was a little bit slow at times, and I am excited for part 2, since this was just one big trailer for the second part.
I agree with you. I feel like it was slow at times, especially at the beginning. It did get better, but like you said, it's more just leading up to the second movie, which is good. I mean, it was a great movie. Cinematography was great. I don't know if really the score was...
Don't disrespect Hans Zimmer.
I'm not. I just don't remember it, I guess. I can't really comment either way. Hello, Malfoy.
You also be in it.
This is Malfoy. So it's not that I don't dislike the music. I just don't really remember much about it. So I guess it just didn't catch my attention.
I agree. Definitely slow. I had a hard time while I was watching it. I felt like I was watching a new version of Kylo Ren playing a Star Wars knockoff type movie. Hopefully the second movie's better in my opinion than the first, but visually it was appealing. Lots of sandworms. That was fun to watch, but otherwise, I feel like it was definitely slow at times, and it kind of had that millennial Kylo Ren vibe for me. So it wasn't one of my favorites out of the choices, but it was okay. It was an okay watch.
And for me, it ranks number 2 on my what I want to win for Best Picture is number 2 for me.
It's number 3 for me.
And number 4 for me. Or I'm sorry. Number 4 for me, yeah. I had to make sure I said the right number there. Uh-huh. Number 4 for me.
And the next movie we'll be talking about is Don't Look Up, directed by Adam McKay, which is pretty much just a bunch of people in Hollywood wanting to make more money, making a movie about an asteroid that's coming down on Earth. For me, Don't Look Up, as a satire, it worked. And there were funny moments, and I did enjoy parts of it. But for me, it doesn't feel like it should be Best Picture nomination. Like, it feels like they chose this movie just because it was popular and people were watching it because it's on Netflix. But for me, it didn't feel like it lived up to Best Picture nominee status when there's much better films that came out this year that could have taken the spot, like Last Night in Soho or Tick, Tick, Boom.
I agree.
But it was okay. I did not like the editing of it, and they got nominated for Best Editing. Nah.
I thought it was funny. I mean, it kept my attention for the most part, where some of the other movies that were nominated did not. I had a harder time trying to pay attention. It was okay. Like, I kind of made jabs on both sides of the political realm, I think, which I don't really care for. But it was okay. I mean, it was all right. It was fine.
Yeah, same for me. I was able to watch it and somewhat entertained, but at the same time, not big on the back and forth political jabs like you said, or too much into today's environment. But I thought that it wasn't my kind of comedy, I guess. Some of the parts were funny, but it could have been a little more entertaining for me, and the ending kind of fell flat for me as well. Yeah. I kind of expected that ending to happen the way it happened. So it wasn't too great, but it was just okay.
For me, it was number 10, the last place on my list on what I want to win.
Last place, knocking it down.
Number 7 for me.
And for me, it was also number 7.
The next movie we'll be talking about is Licorice Pizza, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, which takes place in the 70s about a young child actor named Gary who meets a 25-year-old woman.
I think so, 23 or 25.
And have a very not relationship, which
15 and 25. Yeah, we got it.
Not going good. Paul Thomas Anderson, I have faith in you. You have made some amazing movies like There Will Be Blood. Love that movie. This one was a miss. There were a few parts that I liked. I liked the cinematography. I liked the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I did enjoy those aspects of it. I liked Bradley Cooper's supporting actor role in it. He did good with it as playing the crazy producer. But for me, I just couldn't get over the fact of that age gap and how they didn't really promote. Like, they promoted it as just a friendship, but you could tell that it really was more than just a friendship. And between a 25-year-old and a 15-year-old, does not mix well. It's not good.
I agree. It was a total turnoff for me. Did not like the age gap. It was definitely, the very end, they say they love each other. So to me, that's definitely not a friendship.
While they make out.
While they're making out. It's just not. I mean, I like the acting. Bradley Cooper did amazing, as always. He's a great actor. The music in it was really good. But yeah, I agree. It's just the pedophilia. Too much for me, sorry.
You guys listed everything I said. Anybody after watching that movie want a waterbed again? Or are we,
No.
Are we past waterbed? I'll just check.
I don't think he's ever even sat on a waterbed.
Have you ever sat on a waterbed? Yeah, I didn't think so. But I guess that was a 70s thing. But otherwise, yeah, I completely agree with everything they've said. The age difference just was inappropriate. The whole sexual tension between a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old, it's a little bit off-putting. So it wasn't at the top of my list of movies either.
So for me, this film was number 8 on my ranking.
It's number 10 on mine in the store, sorry.
I dropped it to 10 too, but there's another movie that's pretty close tied to the same 10 spot, but I also gave it a 10.
All right, so next up we have The Power of the Dog, directed by Jane Campion. Now this movie is one that is winning a lot of awards right now and has a lot of Oscar promise, but for me, it was okay. It was like,
Okay.
I liked the cinematography. The score was really immersive. I like the score because it makes you feel like, I like scores that make you feel how the movie's trying to make you feel.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. It gave me too much anxiety when I was watching it.
And amazing acting from Benedict Cumberbatch, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst.
I think everyone in that movie did great.
Yeah, all the acting in the movie is great. Just for me, a bit boring. And not the type of movie I would watch over and over. And yeah.
This is where I get canceled, especially on our very first thing. For me, Power of the Dog was a total miss. I mean, I'll give what I liked about it first. The acting was amazing. Cinematography was great. The score, I disagree with Seth. That it gave me anxiety. The whole of it, I'm like, I just couldn't do it. However, just like Sam Elliott, I have to say that I mean, I get that, yes, there's things like he was a jerk. Benedict Cumberbatch's character was a jerk in it, and that's about obviously. But, you know, you can't have movies that are cowboys and have them all just be sensitive people. You just can't. You couldn't have made Tombstone and made it a sensitive type movie. That just doesn't work. You got to have some, let a man be a man, basically. And I just feel like, you know, they were trying to push that male toxicity was a little too much, I think, in that, like, how bad it is. And I don't agree with that. I don't know. I mean, other than that, I mean, that was my biggest complaint. Otherwise, I mean, it was okay. I liked the acting. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I agree. The acting, I mean, was spot on. You had a lot of good actors in that movie. Somewhat boring for me as well. I was able to get through the movie, and I didn't make it through all the movies where I got so bored, but I was able to make it through that movie. But again, quite boring at times. I did catch myself checking my phone while I was supposed to be paying attention, so wasn't on the top of my list either. We're knocking out all the lower list movies right out of the gate.
So that movie is number 9 for me on my ranking.
It's number 8 for me.
And number 8 for me as well.
And the next movie we'll be talking about is Nightmare Alley, directed by Guillermo del Toro. And now this movie, I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I was excited for it. And it did exceed my expectations. It was better than I thought it would be. Bradley Cooper does amazing in it. And it's another movie that has a bunch of well-known actors who are pretty much at their A game, with Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, even Ron Perlman, throw him in there. It really was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I did like the cinematography of it. I did like just the feeling the movie gave off. Mm-hmm. It felt like Guillermo del Toro, he knew what he was trying to do, and he executed it well.
I agree with Seth. The acting for Nightmare Alley was amazing. Bradley Cooper is great, like always. William Dafoe did amazing. It was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I mean, I think the only bad thing I could say about it was that it was predictable. Like, I knew it was going to happen, but that doesn't matter. It still kept my attention, and it was really, really good. Highly recommended it.
Agreed. You and I have to quit sharing the same brain, rating these movies the way that we do. But yeah, I agree. Bradley Cooper, I mean, he's a good actor. We enjoy his movies. I like the tone of it and the darkness of the way they filmed it. Kind of kept you in the mood and the feeling of the movie. So the cinematography was good. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie a lot better than most of the movies. So as you can tell, it's probably a little higher ranked on my list. But overall, kept my attention, enjoyed it, was predictable, I agree, but it was a good movie.
For me, it is number 3 on my ranking.
It's number 2 on mine.
Number 2 on my ranking as well.
The next movie we're going to be talking about is one that these two love right here. It's called West Side Story, directed by the man himself, Steven Spielberg. Now for me, as someone who actually really enjoyed the original, I also really enjoyed this version.
There was an original? I'm just kidding.
No, I thought the cinematography was amazing. The editing was amazing. I really thought that Ansel Elgort and Rachel... What's her name?
What's her name?
Rachel Zegler. That's her name.
Ziegler?
Something like that. If I butcher any of these names, I am also 17 years old, so do not get mad at me. I do not know what I'm talking about sometimes. But I thought they both did amazing. They had amazing chemistry, and I really did enjoy this movie. It lived up to the original, in my opinion, and I just liked it.
Another one I'm going to get hate for. I have never been a fan of West Side Story. However, I thought, well, Steven Spielberg usually doesn't go wrong. I really like Ansel Elgort. He did a great job. He's a great actor. I really like him in the stuff he plays in. The acting was good. They had good chemistry, like you said. One of the things that I did not like, which, I mean, like you said, you could kind of read the room, but when they're speaking in Spanish, they did put in the closed captions, so you couldn't tell what they were saying. I mean, yeah, you could kind of get the gist of what it was, but I was a little confused at some of the stuff. But I've just never been a fan of West Side Story, so the music, I'm just not into that opera type music. So it's just not a go for me.
West Side Story, I look at that as 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. And full disclosure, I'm not a big musical person. However, I will watch the occasional musical if it has music that I can listen to and like. Grease. I can sing Grease songs, so I can watch a Grease.
Please don't.
I'm good at it. But I can watch Grease or certain musical. Annie. I grew up on Annie, so I know those songs. I could sit and watch it. I'm not going to all the time, but I could sit and watch it and be okay with it. 2 hours into this, I would rather do laundry and put an ice pick in my eye than to sit and watch this any longer. So it was beyond horrible, and I couldn't relate to the songs. I didn't know the songs. Very opera-like. The story was lost on me. I barely made it through this one. So I don't know if you noticed, but this might be the one that's tied for last place in my list. But yeah, we'll discuss that in just a second. But I struggled with it.
So now I know his ranking on where it is. It's tied for last.
It's tied
If
for
you
last.
like
for me-
West Side Story, yeah, I think
You'll like it,
you'll really,
but-
really like it. I have just never been a fan. I've seen several adaptions of it. I've never been a fan of it. So it's just not going to press me.
I'd rather watch High School Musical.
Oh, my.
For me, it's number 4 on my ranking. I enjoyed it.
It's number 9 on mine.
Yeah, it's that 9-10 slot for me as well. Not good.
So the next film we will be talking about is Drive My Car. Now talk about 3 hours of a movie. But when starting it, I did not know it was 3 hours. So imagine my surprise when the opening credits started happening in the first 40 minutes.
After the first 40 minutes,
After
yeah.
the first 40 minutes.
Yep.
But honestly, I was expecting a lot more from this movie. I heard a lot of it hyped up, and I got really excited for the movie. So when it came on HBO Max and I watched it, I was a little bit disappointed. It still was good. It still had amazing acting between the two main actors, which I don't want to try and pronounce their names because I will absolutely I will brutalize.
No.
It would not be good. But I did enjoy the movie. I feel like the cinematography was great in it. Again, cinematography for most of these movies is really amazing. But for Drive My Car, I felt the acting was amazing, the cinematography was amazing. It just kind of fell flat for me story-wise. But I don't know. It was good. I'm glad foreign films are getting more Best Picture recognition, like Parasite, because Parasite was amazing.
Parasite was great.
Yes, it was. Parasite was great. Drive My Car, I like the acting. I do agree, like the first half of the movie I was kind of like trying to stay awake. But the second half I really started to get into. I seen the how important it was for them to have that connection, the two actors, to help them get through the grief that they were both sharing. I like that it basically showed how they had to get past that grief so that they can continue to live. And I mean, I liked it. I mean, it was slow, very slow at the beginning, but it did pick up towards the end. I started to get that connection between them, and I felt that definitely got better, and I liked it. I hadn't heard anything about it, though, beforehand, so I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know it was 3 hours either. I turned it on, and I was like, oh. So, yeah, it was good.
I also had not heard anything about it when I went to watch it. Little slow and confusing at the beginning for me. I did halfway through start to understand, as you said, the kind of relying on each other and coming together to get through their grief. The story was okay. Definitely had a hard time keeping my attention the entire 3 hours. Seth had already told me that it was 40 minutes in before you even get to see the opening credits, so I was anticipating that because he had watched it before me. But otherwise, I mean, it was just okay. I agree with you. You know, foreign films should get their due justice as well. Parasite, great movie. This one, it was just a movie.
And for me, Drive My Car is number 6 in my ranking.
That's where I have it, number 6.
And I also have it number 6. We all ranked it in the same spot at number 6.
All right, so for the next film is Coda, directed by Sean Hayter, I think her name is. Something around that name. But give or take a few letters, maybe. It could be totally wrong. But
could be totally wrong.
This is why it's called the movie reviews no one asked for, because we sometimes don't know what we're talking about. But Coda, now this film is amazing. As someone who is in ASL class right now, it really helps you see into the world of the deaf and like feel how they feel every single day. It really is just an amazing film about a young female by the name of Ruby who has a deaf brother and deaf parents, and how she is the only speaking and hearing member of the family. And it really is an amazing film. Some people got emotional watching the film.
Who don't normally get emotional.
Who do not normally get emotional. But for me, this movie is just amazing in every aspect. The acting is amazing. The way it's edited is just amazing. Like the concert scene where Ruby's singing and then it cuts back to the parents and it's completely silent. It was just an amazing film. And I really hope the dad gets the win for Best Supporting Actor because he really deserves it. Like everybody in this movie, I feel like, in my opinion, deserved a nomination for either lead actress, supporting actress, and then supporting actors. Like the brother should have gotten a nomination as well. All the acting was just amazing, and I really enjoyed this movie.
I agree. It's obviously a great movie. The acting was superb. The way they showed the stress that she was under because, she's got all these extra pressures, not just of being a teenager, but having the pressures of her parents relying on her to help with their business to the hearing world because they can't communicate as well, or it's just, she has a lot of pressure on her. And then the fact that she sings and that's what she loves to do and they can never hear her. It's very emotional. Like one of my favorite scenes is the concert, where it shows, they're looking around, they don't know what's going on because they can't hear it and it's real silent and they're looking, and then you can see it, people are tearing up when she's crying and the mom and dad are confused of why they're tearing up, and it's just a really, really good movie. And I think it really highlights the how hard it would be to be, born into that situation.
I agree. I mean, we've all touched on the concert scene. That was probably the best scene of the movie, in my opinion. When it takes you from the concert into the parents' point of view, which was a great part of the movie. I feel like the biggest part of that, though, is the pressure put on Ruby throughout the entire movie, because she gets pressure from school, she gets pressure from friends, she gets pressure from her parents, from her brother, from her vocal teacher, choir teacher. But anyway, all avenues are coming at her, and she's the only one that all of them depend on. So I think that was kind of the best highlighter spot of the film. So it was really well done, enjoyable movie, so I highly recommend watching it.
I really feel like Emilia Jones, who plays Ruby in the film, I feel like she will become a breakout actress after this. I feel like she would start getting cast in a lot more things.
Probably.
Because she did amazing in this.
She should.
She should, at least.
And I found the most interesting part of that is she didn't know sign language prior to being cast, which is pretty good. And her family in the movie are all actually deaf. So it was really good casting and well done by all of them.
It was a great movie.
And that is why it is number 1 on my ranking, hoping that wins.
Also number 1 on my ranking.
Yeah, it's unanimous on this side. We all ranked that the best film of all the nominations.
The next film we're going to talk about is Belfast, directed by Kenneth Branagh. And for this movie, it's a bit hard to talk about just because I don't remember a lot that goes down in it. I do know what it's about. I just don't remember it too well. But don't get me wrong. I do enjoy this movie. I do remember enjoying it. I remember enjoying it at the time. It's just not very memorable.
I think you watched it a lot longer ago than we did.
That is true. It just wasn't very memorable for me. It didn't stick too much in my mind. I do remember the main kid in the film. His acting was really good. Surrounded by all these adult actors and everything, I know it could be hard. And he did really good with what he was given. And I did like seeing how movies help this young kid through these tough times, which kind of reflects back on the director Kenneth Branagh's real life, where he looked at movies to help him through tough times. He went through a lot of the same things that happened in this movie. And the cinematography, the black and white, you can never go wrong with. It's a very artistic choice that a lot of people are using nowadays.
You stole my line. I was going with that too.
But the cinematography was really good. The editing was amazing too. The way how they would mix the movies in color with the actual film we're watching in black and white was really good. But I enjoyed it. I just wish it was a little bit more memorable.
I agree. I really liked the movie. I did like the black and white choice. It was really good. I thought the kid was really cute. Did a great job. All of them did a great job in the acting. I don't think, the grandpa and the grandma's relationship was really cute. The only thing, maybe the first bit, I think I say this a lot, the first bit of the movie, maybe a little slow for me. Definitely got better towards the end, I thought.
I actually enjoyed it more than I expected to. I'm not typically excited about black and white movies, but I agree with you on the cinematography. Shooting that in black and white, or playing that in black and white was a good choice with the films being in color. It did emphasize where that kid, found his strength and his courage, those kind of things. So I thought it was shot well. The grandpa was definitely my favorite character, although his story was quite predictable throughout the entire movie of what was going to happen. But even though you knew his story, he was that lovable grandpa that we all wish we had as a grandpa, right? So it was good, better than I thought it would be, and maybe that's why I rated it as high as I did, but we'll talk about that in just a second.
For me, it is ranked number 5, dead in the middle of my list.
Mine's number 4.
And I actually ranked it number 3, so I enjoyed it better than Dune. I was a little more bored during Dune than I was Belfast, so it was decent.
And our last film we have to cover is King Richard. Now, I will say about this film that Will Smith, you can't go wrong with Will Smith. Nowadays, he hasn't really been as big as comedies and everything as he used to be, but he is still working well as a drama actor. And this movie did work well, in my opinion. The runtime was a little bit longer than it needed to be. There was some like excessive scenes that like they could have been taken like just cut down short, just cut out entirely.
Yep.
It's always a surprise to see John Berthal show up.
We can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
We're all big John Berthal fans here.
But come on, renew the Punisher.
Yes.
Shout out to the Punisher.
But as someone who didn't really know much about Serena or Venus, I did enjoy this movie, and it was interesting to see their story and how they had this upcoming with the help of their father and everything. And I did enjoy this movie, just not as much as I did some of the others.
I liked the movie. I thought it was good. Again, you can't go wrong with John Berthal. Love him. Will Smith did good. The girls did amazing. I'm sorry, I don't know their names. I should have done more research before this. They were great. I liked also the actress that played his wife.
Mm-hmm.
She did a really good job. I don't know if I agree that this should have been in the running. I think there's a lot of movies in this year's nominations that I just think are not near as enjoyable as some of the other ones that were released. But this is definitely one of them I think didn't need the nomination. But, that's just my own opinion. It was still good. I liked it. It's a feel-good movie. I like learning about Venus and Serena's upbringing and stuff because I do like them as tennis players. So, how could you not? They're amazing. So, it was good.
Yeah. Again, I agree with there's a lot of shots that should have been taken out. There was too much in there, I think. I feel like the first half of the movie was a lot more boring than the second half of the movie. And I'm going to be quite honest. The portrayal of their father, to me at times, as a father, was kind of annoying. I get that things worked out for him, but at the same time, I felt like he was a little bit entitled, or I know he was calling his kids' future or their shots, but I
think that's what he really did, though. There was videos of him.
Well, I agree that's what he really did, but I don't know. I just felt like his character. Will Smith did a great job portraying, but I just felt like his character just kind of was lost on me a little bit. I didn't like the character so much. I think that's why I was a little disconnected from it, because the way they portrayed their father, which could be very much how he was in real life, but it just kind of annoyed me a little bit, I guess. So I might get some hate for that, but
at the end of the movie, they show a video, and he was saying that.
He was saying all that same stuff. I agree, but I agree with you. I think the wife did an amazing job portraying their mom. Her acting was spot on. The girls did amazing. You could tell if they don't know tennis, they did some excellent editing in that film because they look like they were tennis stars as well. So it looked overall the movie was okay. I kind of agree with you. It shouldn't have been, in my opinion, nominated as one of those movies. When you list Tick, Tick, Boom and
Last Night
in Soho and so many other good movies that we really enjoyed that we feel like should have been nominated for Best Picture, that's not necessarily one of them for me. Of course, probably the bottom half of my list is out for me. So,
yeah, that's true.
So we'll just leave it at that.
All right, and so the final movie is ranked as number 7 on my list.
It's number 5 on mine.
And number 5 on my list as well. Right in the middle.
Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, because why not? You didn't ask for the movie reviews, but we'll give them to you. And we're
probably not going to agree, but that's okay.
We're halfway professional.
we're movie nerds, so take that for what it is.
Just give your opinion, and you can agree or disagree. That's what this is about. It's beautiful.
And if any of you guys have any suggestions on what movies we should cover next besides Last Night in Soho, because that will definitely be getting a episode of its own. Great movie. Anyways, if you have any suggestions, let us know down in the comments, and we will definitely take them into account. We will see what movie will we do next, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.